Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks today. We're talking Tuesday, January 7th. The Splash Zone is back in your life. I'm going to have 3 player props as of right now for you guys to lock in, including one that we are climbing a pretty juicy ladder on. There were a bunch of looks that I did like for tonight that I'm just going to wait on injury news. So hoping to hop on Josh Lander's live stream at 5:30 p.m. tonight if he doesn't big time me. So we'll go over any last minute ads in that live stream. But as of right now, 3 official bets for you guys to lock in. And then, as I mentioned, the 1 ladder play as well. To look at yesterday, 2 and 3 down 0.82 units is not great. It's not terrible either. Really frustrating day that we had to have a losing day. The one of the plays that we lost. So we lost Scoot Henderson. That was just a bad bet. I'm big enough to admit that. I tried to force that for pretty juicy odds. Just a bad play. The Wemby one, that also lost. I'm okay with that loss. It was a good matchup for him. It happens. The one really frustrating one, if you'll allow me to complain for a second, was the Vooch first quarter points. So I took him over 4.5. He took 9 shots in the first quarter. He only made 1 of them, and then he made the next 9 of his last 12. So it was just an incredibly frustrating loss. That's what happens when you play the first quarter market. A guy starts slow, you lose. I will take that bet 10 times out of 10 when you consider the matchup, when you consider the fact that he took 9 shots. It just didn't go our way. That's unfortunately how things go. That really is a microcosm of how this season has gone overall. We're up a little bit over 3 units, or maybe a little bit below 3 units actually at this point. It's been a really frustrating season because we'll have plays like Vooch where the look I think is really good just doesn't go our way. It's been that way a lot of the year. Hopefully, I got 3 picks for you guys to lock in. Going to go ahead and share my screen to walk you through everything that I am looking at. Propsmadness.com is the website I'm looking at. Check them out if you're interested. I put the link in the description as well as the pinned comment. And then, of course, if you could like and subscribe this video, like, comment, and subscribe, that would help. So, play number 1. I'm going to go through my official bets and then go through some of the leans that I'm looking at just so you guys kind of know where my thoughts are. But the official bet that I locked in here is LaMelo Ball. I took him 30+ points. I got this at plus 175 odds at ESPN bets. We're going to go ahead and change this graph to 29.5. I mean, obviously, LaMelo Ball is having a great year. He's hit this in 14 of 23 games. He scored 30 points in 61. I was going to say over 60, which is technically true, but 61% of his games. Now, the risk here is that he's 2 games removed from missing time. So he played his last game on the 26th of December, and then he missed about 10 days played on January 5th. Luckily, we have 33 minutes of playing time on January 5th, so he didn't really play that limited of minutes. And it was a really tough matchup against the Cavaliers, and he still scored 23 points. He shot 11 3-pointers, put up 20 field goal attempts in general. So that's good for his first game back. Now that he's got that out of his way, hopefully things are a little bit better. But as you can see, I mean, 30 points in 14 of 23 games is very good. And the reason why we like this play, it's all about the matchup. And guys that run heavy pick and roll can have success against the Suns. We actually targeted Tyrese Maxey in this exact game yesterday. He scored 31 points. Now, Maxey, we locked him in before Embiid went out, so his line closed at 27.5. We took him 25+. He scored 31 points. He went off, and that was after a really slow start as well. And guys that can pull up from three-point range, that shoot a heavy amount of shots above the break three-pointer, they can have a lot of success against the Suns. And as you can see, LaMelo Ball scores about 35% of his points, about 12 points per game, as the main pick and roll ball handler. And he's just going to jack up a ton of shots against this Suns team. As you can see, the 6th most points per game allowed to pick and roll ball handlers. 5 of 7 players similar to LaMelo Ball scoring profile have hit their over against the Suns as well, which is a good sign. And if you just look at LaMelo, and I'm just filtering this by games he's played against teams that are bottom 10 guarding the pick and roll, the data is okay. You see he's done that in 5 of 8 games. And just looking at the games, we see he hit it in the first 4, then he missed it in 3 of the next 4. Nothing really to be concerned about there. This is just a matchup play, a volume play on LaMelo, putting up a ton of shots. And it's kind of funny, you know, his over-under is 26.5. Some play says 25.5 on underdog. If you can hit that, that's a smash play. I was 27.5. I guess that number came down. But he's only landed between 27 and 30 points. I think he's done that one time this year. So like he's gone over 26.5 in 15 of 23 games. And as we can see, he's 29.5. It's 14 of 23 games. So to me, if he's going over 26.5, he's probably scoring 30 plus as well. And you can get plus 175 odds versus minus 115. So I just think that, I mean, everybody that knows me knows that's what I love doing, is finding these plays where you can pump them up, get way better odds, plus money bangers, all that stuff. So first play, LaMelo Ball, 30 plus points, plus 175 odds at ESPN Bet. Now the next two bets that I have are actually both in the Celtics versus Nuggets game. I have a couple looks that I liked in the Lakers Mavericks, in the Hawks Jazz that I'll get into, but no official bets as of right now. The first one that I have is we're taking Jamal Murray over 3.5 rebounds. This is actually, so you can even get a better price. I got this at minus 120. You can now get this at minus 115 odds at Bet365. And I think that's an absolute smash. I also took him 6+ rebounds as well at plus 340 odds at FanDuel. So 1 unit on over 3.5. A quarter unit on 6+ at way juicier odds. A couple things here. Number one, Murray's a pretty good rebounder in general. I mean, as you can see, 16 of his last 24 games, he's hit 4 rebounds. So I like to find plays where we're betting something close to their average, but we believe that they can go above their average, which is why we find ceiling opportunities here. But we can count on him roughly for 4 rebounds per game, which is pretty good. This is all about the matchup. The Nuggets are playing the Celtics. What do we know about the Celtics? They bomb 3-pointers. The farther the shot leaves, the farther the rebound is. So you see a lot of guards have success rebounding against the Celtics. They're not really a good matchup for centers. They're like, bottom 7, bottom 5, depending on what time frame you look at center rebound props, but they're consistently in the top 3, top 5 for guard rebound props. So Jamal Murray already averages 4 rebounds per game, and I think he can easily go above that in this matchup. As you can see, players similar to the rebounding profile of Jamal Murray, 5 of 6 have hit their rebound prop over. The only one that missed was DiVincenzo, who had 3 rebounds. His over-under was 3.5. So he's come close, he hooked us with that. Granted, I don't believe in hooks if you're betting anything below, even honestly single digits. Hooks really shouldn't count because the lower the number is, the more likely you are to get hooked. That's a different soapbox. But then the guys that went over, I mean, Dort, 6 rebounds, over under 4.5. Cade Cunningham did it twice with 8 and 9 rebounds. Steph Curry had 7 rebounds with the same over under as Jamal Murray. And then Cunningham again earlier this year had 6 rebounds. And, those are plays with similar rebounding profile. If we just look at same position as Jamal Murray, which is basically just guards, point guards, shooting guards, sometimes they track them differently. 9 of 16. So still a 60% hit rate on guards against the Celtics. Now, a couple of them that missed. This Edwards one was very frustrating because I bet his over and he missed it, but he did cash. I guess we're going, it's too far back because you're only showing the last 15 here, but Edwards did cash it in the first game against the Celtics. So all in all, it looks pretty good. And then we want to go off of last year, which I understand is not always perfect. 8 rebounds on 11 rebound chances, 6 rebounds on 10 rebound chances. So he had double-digit rebound chances in both games against the Celtics last year, and that makes complete sense because the Celtics shot profile is basically the exact same this year as it was last year. So I'm very comfortable using last year's data. That's also why I pumped it up to 6, because he hit that in both games. And if he's telling me he's going to get double-digit rebound chances, I will gladly take him to get over 3.5 rebounds, and I will very gladly also ladder him up to 6, which is exactly what we did. So our second official bet is Jamal Murray over 3.5 rebounds, minus 115 odds is the best offered price now at minus 115. And then I also took him 6+ rebounds. That's best offered at FanDuel at plus 340. The next bet I mentioned is in the same game, and we're going right back to Jayson Tatum rebounds. So those of you that followed me on Sunday know that I bet Jayson Tatum to get 10 rebounds, and he did come through, granted, barely, and he really made us sweat. I think he had 2 or 3 rebounds in the first half, but ended the game with 10 rebounds on 17 rebound chances. Perfectly acceptable numbers there. The reason why this is a play is because of Kristaps Porzingis. It doesn't sound, it's counterintuitive, but in games that Porzingis plays, Tatum averages significantly more rebounds. So if we look at games with Porzingis, we see he's hit 10 rebounds in 7 of 10 games this season, averaging about 11 rebounds per game. And that's with Porzingis, 7 of 10, 70% hit rate, 11.2 rebounds per game. If we look at games without Porzingis, it's a way lower hit rate, only 8 of 23, and he averages 3 fewer rebounds per game. And again, I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, But it's all about the matchups and stuff. You know, when Kristaps Porzingis is in, it changed who Tatum guards, leaving him a little bit more of a freelance type of defender who can grab rebounds and go, get steals, stuff like that. Kind of like what you think of how Giannis plays on the Bucks. He never always guards the big man or the best player, so he can kind of freelance, be the free safety. So that's why I like the Tatum rebounds. It's also a decent matchup against the, I mean, it's a small sample size, but per props madness, 3 of 4 players with Tatum's rebounding profile have hit their over. I mean, we see a lot of them hit it by I mean, Luka just hooked it, but Scotty Barnes had 12. Luka went over. Josh Hart missed it. He's been in a amazing stretch rebounding, so he just missed it in this game. And then Ahmed Thompson went over. And again, this is like very similar to Jayson Tatum. If we just go by position, it still looks good. 9 of 15 players, 60% hit rate. Again, the farthest it goes back is by 15, or it's the last 15 players. So that's why we see that. So it's a play with Porzingis. I will say, I want to give you guys the full picture. It is a little bit concerning if you go off of last year. Last year in 2 games against the Nuggets, he went under in both of those games. So if I'm going to show you Jamal Murray, I'm going to have to show you Jayson Tatum last year as well. Only had 8 rebounds and 4 rebounds, and the rebound chances really weren't there as well. Similarly, decent matchup. Granted, a lot of this is just based on the playoffs, so it's hard to look at last 15 going on last year. But if we just go off of this year, it's a smash play. And a lot of it makes sense. I mean, with Porzingis, he's rebounding a lot more. And he's actually, this wasn't the case last year. Like, if you look at with Porzingis last year, he's actually rebounding less. So maybe they changed up their defensive rotations. I'm not 100% sure of why. But this is a new thing this year with Tatum as opposed to last year, which is another reason why it kind of makes sense that he went under in both games with Porzingis last year, because he didn't rebound as much with Porzingis last year. So all in all, Jayson Tatum, 10 plus rebounds. I should probably give you the price. I got this on Caesars, which I guess is not available here. Oh yeah, plus 112, the exact same price. And then in terms of some of the leans that I wanted to give out real quick, there's only a couple, so I'll be quick. Somebody on the Hawks is going to have a good game. I was looking at Zachary Rissache. The reason why I liked him is because, I mean, first of all, there's a ton of injuries. I mean, Larry Nance is out. Jalen Johnson is out. Jalen Johnson being out is the biggest thing. He's gone over the 12.5 number in 3 of 4 games without Jalen Johnson. This is also a pretty good matchup. I mean, he scores the majority of his points in transition. The Jazz give up the most transition points in the entire NBA. It doesn't look amazing from a positional perspective per props madness, but Risa Shea, we don't have enough data on him to give him similar players, which is why it's just by position. But we see they're withholding a lot of odds. Like, they only have 5 players out. There's a lot of guys that could also have a good matchup against the Jazz, which is why I wanted to wait and just kind of see who's playing, because we are waiting on Bogdan as well. Now he's probably going to play because he's actually listed as probable, and that does change some things. So if he's actually out, then I mean, this is going to be a lot of good looks on the Hawks. And then another one that I wanted to look at but didn't think quite the value was there was Anthony Davis. I actually looked at his assists. The Mavericks are a team that give up a lot of assists to centers. As you can see, 3 of 4 have hit their over assist prop against the Mavericks, and 4 of 6 just centers. And they're kind of interesting with how they track. So if players have very low average stats, unusual playing time, no betting lines, they don't get tracked. So like injuries, or just like if they, whatever, something happens, they're not going to get tracked, which is why you only see 4 of 6 centers. But AD's been pretty good from an assist perspective. I mean, he's hit it in 13 of his last 24 games. He's hit it in 6 of his last 10. He also did it in, I think, 2 of 3 games against the Mavericks last year. Yeah, so 2 of 3 games last year. The reason why I didn't end up betting it is I just didn't think the odds were good enough. I mean, if I'm betting him over 3.5 assists, I'd want something better than minus 115, or, I mean, we see minus 115 across the board. So that's why I didn't end up betting it. I just didn't think that the value was there. And then for the Rockets, there's a lot of good looks on the Rockets, but we're paying a Wizards tax. I mean, as you can see, Şengün's over-under is 23.5. He's literally only done that 4 games this year, 4 times this entire season. Actually, looks like, sorry, I'm not looking at the full season. 8 of 35 games. He's hit that 8 times, and his over-under is 23.5. And I get why, because the Wizards stink. I mean, 2nd most points to pick and roll man. 6th most via post-up. 2nd most via free throws. 3 of 3, similar profile to Şengün, have gone over. 10 of 15 of the last centers have gone over. I totally get it. We're just betting way, way, way above his season average. Like, if we're asking him to score 6 more points, 5 more points than his season average, yeah, he can do it. I just don't think that makes sense. And we're paying that with basically every player. I mean, look at Jalen Green, over 22.5. He's done that in 11 of 35 games. It's the same thing. Ahmed Thompson was the one that I did look at, but same thing. It's just, we're paying way too much of a Wizards price. I don't think that the value is there. And the reason why, another reason why these are so high is because Jabari Smith Jr. is out. He's only missed one game this year, or a couple games this year. Like Jalen Green's hit it in both. Amen Thompson hit it in the one. Şengün missed it in both. So if I'm playing this, I'm probably playing Amen Thompson or Jalen Green. It's not as good of a matchup for Jalen Green, but he did annihilate the Wizards last year. If we look at his head-to-head against the Wizards last year, without Jabari Smith Jr., 37 and 42 points. He just crushed the Wizards last year. I get it. Different season and all that stuff. I didn't really think that there was any value there. But that's kind of where I was looking, and I don't really have anything for Heat Warriors and Timberwolves Pelicans. So 3 official bets plus a couple leans for you guys to lock in. We're going with Jamal Murray over 3.5 and 6+ rebounds. We're going with Jayson Tatum over 9.5 rebounds, and we're going LaMelo Ball 30+ points. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe. Check out the links in the description of the video if you want to support the channel. I have a dub club where I send all my plays out. It's only $5 a month. Check out Props Madness, which, as you can tell, is the tool that I use mostly for my NBA bets. I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.